What's happening? Good evening, everybody. Just checking on a few things. I want to talk about this, man. It's just, even though the fire allegedly has been contained, I just think before the holiday season that people really need to, the incarcerated staff at MSP or any of these CMCF or wherever, need to make sure the safety protocols are in place because dudes, the presence of anxiety and depression in the staff, it raises during the holiday season. With that being said, I think places like Unit 29 at Parchman has to have first adequate amount of staff, adequate amount of training, and personnel in power that cares about their well-being. Because guys, if you're not seeing to their well-being, then they're going to put other guys' lives in danger. Such as setting fires. I've seen a lot of fires set at 29 that, were simply because staff wasn't responding to the needs of guys in 29L building, 29A building, and 29J to high risk. I thank God that they've moved death row from over there or whatever. I don't know the population or the demographic, but I know high risk is still over there. They had a fire this morning that could have been really, catastrophic in the sense that it could have been another Michael Davenport situation. And what I'm hearing and what I'm learning is that, for the record, Michael Davenport is an inmate that was killed in a fire in 2006. And it caused the state department, the Mississippi Department of Correction and the state to change the laws. I think his family got somewhere upwards of $300,000 for his death while incarcerated. But what they want to do now is ensure that guys who are on the fire department have adequate training. Now, also I'm learning that the fire chief, which is had been off since November, and when he's out on medical leave, they're supposed to instantly assign either Sunflower County or Tallahatchie County as a first responder. That's a must. When you have your fire chief out, you automatically have to assign the department that's closer or the most responsive or the most effective. Either one, it doesn't matter. To be your primary responder. Now, I thank Middlebrook for being there and using whatever means necessary, even if you had to, per se, violate policy to ensure that you save the lives of individuals. Still, they shouldn't be put in a position where their lives are even in danger due to a fire. I don't know if the fire was set by an inmate. I don't know if it was fire set by some guys trying to get warm in their cell or whatever the cause may be. There was still a fire. And when it was high risk, those guys are locked down pretty much 23-1, if they even let them out to get wrecked some days. So they're locked down all the time. So if a guy sets his cell on fire, you got that paint and everything else that could catch fire, from the heat. The fire is going to grow upwards. And you have to have response time is crucial. If you don't have the right response time, then you put a lot of people's lives in danger, including staff. Because what if it was a planned thing to where guys set a fire just knowing that they were short staff and the officers panicked and let them out of the cell, and now we have a mass mutiny on our hand, which 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. But the thing is, it's possible. And so I hadn't been on here in a long time, man, but I just think that I have a lot of guys, man, that I mentored to that had been out there for 5 years and probably are still out there on high risk, long-term SEG, PC. Guys have been in PC 5 to 7 years already, so some of them are never going anywhere. They got life sentences. They're content with doing their time out in those buildings. But every year during the holiday season, you have suicides increase, inmate or inmate violence increase, violence against staff increase, and it's, people are really, really, really depressed during this time of year, and even staff they have to get mandatory orders to work, and they're working, and then you have guys who are coming in out of state, thinking that this is Florida, thinking that this is some other state. Mississippi has a whole different incarcerated population. Every state does. Every state has their own unique brand. And the thing is, our way of doing time is way different than any other. I wish our guys would stick together more and stand up more and not fight the system on paper more. Stand up for themselves. Don't let staff treat them any kind of way. But our staff tend to use paperwork to try to punish guys who've already been sentenced to a punishment by the system. That means making it hard for them to fight the ARP process or through litigation, within the courts and stuff. So we have a lot of guys who are or have served their time who have been sentenced illegally that are still incarcerated. And so situations like this just makes it well known that we have a problem in Mississippi. I would hate to see, I'm praying and hoping that no one was hurt, nobody sustained life-threatening injuries, staff or inmate, with this fire this morning. But it could have been really, really bad. It could have been really, really bad, man, because without the fire chief there and without anybody, is there anybody that's even, I seen the video to where they were fighting a fire in Rome earlier this year or at the end of last year, whenever it was, when Batman had them down the highway fighting a fire earlier this year. Now, with that being said, are any of those guys legitimately trained and legitimately certified? You know what I mean? And that's a question that I'm going to ask Mumford. Congratulations on your position too, Mr. Mumford. Former deputy warden out at 29, who's now the fire chief. It's been a long time coming, so congratulations on your promotion. So I'm going to ask him, like the protocol for that. But I know that Michael Davenport's death in 2006 changed a lot of that for Mississippi. And when you have staff making a difference between offenders, black and white, when you cover up staff misconduct so that it's not publicly known, then you're enabling a corrupt system. Not pointing any fingers yet, but it's going to be some toes stepped on before this month is out. I've been quiet lately. It's my choice. It's not a Batman choice. It's not a commissioner's choice. It's not anybody's choice. It's been my choice. I've been focusing on school. This is my senior year. I'm scheduled to graduate in May. However, I still care about those guys who are incarcerated, even some who I think that have earned the right to be there. There are a lot of guys. If there's 10% of the guys who are not supposed to be still incarcerated because of a mistake that they made, not an intentional, willful, violent act, but because of a mistake like the guy that the governor just pardoned. And so I think that he actually pardoned one guy just to get the public's opinion on how to proceed with more, or if you can proceed with more without getting a lot of public pushback. And so what I would encourage the family of all the people who have loved ones incarcerated, people like Mac Watts, Oliver Brown, Henry Stevenson, Derek Vincent, guys like that, Kippy, William Golden, Glenn, and I believe that Glenn, Field Minister Glenn, is one of the people who who's actually innocent. I believe that Oliver Brown is one of the people who are actually innocent because his detective was on the scene committing a crime knowing that he was investigating him. He was framing him to go to jail to get him out the way. And that's one of the things. Yeah. Hold on one second. Hey, what's up? Oh, me. Right. 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 And so I think that if it is out, they need to see. I want to see. I want to hear a damage report of who's hurt, how many people are hurt, if any, and how this could be prevented. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And so that's the thing. Yeah, we need to need the ELC to get down there and secure the scene and do the report. So I want to know who's since Rand is at Delta now, who's the ELC operator, who's the ELC officer. Yeah, and then just make sure that these guys are okay, and then we need to all the guys that was in that building, whether it was on the B side or if they even have anybody on the A side since they moved death row. Death row. I think that those guys need to go to an outside hospital individually. Anybody that was in there, that building is old, so we don't know. Was it built before they made the restriction on asbestos or whatever? But that smoke inhalation, either one of them need to be checked out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Burn. Yeah. Eyes. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And I know a lot of people. Yeah. He's there on the scene. Hmm. Yeah. So so kudos to him. That's Middlebrook and not the new McCoy, not Batman, as I say. Mhm. Yeah. But let me finish this live, and I'll hit you up in a minute. Yeah. Just look down my thing. Yeah. I'm on it now. All right. All right. All right. Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to Middlebrook call Batman. That's just, you know what I mean. And that but just him being there responding, I just we just need to find out. First of all, get them guys checked out. Make sure they get to the outside hospital, and make sure that there are no hot spots in the building or whatever. And then they can't go back in there if there are any hot spot. What are they going to do about moving them? You know what I mean? Yeah. Right. Right. They're high risk. Jay building. Right. Yeah, and they can they have to be in a cell behind the door. So I don't know where else. I don't know where else. Probably a building. They could combine. But a building is full. It's an intake unit right now. So I don't know where. I don't have any idea where they could even possibly, put them. But yeah. But let me finish this, and I hit you up. All right. All right. All right. Yeah, but that's my thing, man. I'm just praying and hoping that for everybody's sake, the loved ones, everybody, hey baby, that the people are safe. You know, that's it, man. But I want to end this because I want to check on some of the people who are down there, and I'll be back with you guys a little later. So I want to check and make sure that all the guys down there in J building are okay. Yeah. Take care. Yeah.